Welcome to a new episode of The Inside Rip. Today's guest, former NFL quarterback Jim Everett, who as a former first-round draft pick, talks about the success that young quarterbacks can have in the NFL. And as a sweet treat, we even dived into that infamous Jim Rome interview. Enjoy. Jim, you avoided going to the Houston Oilers, who drafted you. I already see your face. You're going back.
Houston who? Our viewers don't know who Houston Oilers are.
You were going to get drafted by the Houston Oilers as the third overall pick in 1986. Did the Rams save you?
Man, I don't know how this all works. It's Sarina. We're at the time right now. We're in a draft. Everything's going on, and I look at it now, and it's like seems like time warp time. But again, Houston Oilers is a time warp name. I mean, that's just dated way back. They had oil rigs on the helmet, the whole thing. I'm sitting there with all my boys in Indianapolis at Purdue, and we're waiting for the draft. And Indianapolis picks 4. And I'm on the phone. I just knew I was going to be a Colt. They moved up from pick 6 to pick 4. They said they were going to get me. But Houston had other plans at pick 3 and decided to draft me. And so they called me, and I'm on the phone at like 7:30 in the morning. The draft was not in the evening at that point. It was morning. We had a keg of beer, Sarina. I want you to know that, even for all my boys. I'm getting this call like right off the go. Bo Jackson goes, Tony Casillas goes, and I get this call, and I'm thinking, man, Colts aren't on the clock yet. It's Houston Oilers. They're saying, Jim, you want to be an Oiler? I'm like, what am I going to say? No. I'm like, yeah, a surprise. So, but they had Warren Moon down there, Sarina. So I was like, okay, I'll go. And, then when we get into negotiation, I lived down in Houston all summer, and we get in the negotiations, and they wanted to pay me backup money. They didn't want to pay me starter money because they had Warren Moon. And so I really didn't have a choice but to hold out. We didn't have like today's media where you could say, hey, on Twitter, this. No, I had to talk through reporters. They said, hey, I'm pulling an Elway and I'm doing all this other stuff. Like I'm holding out for all this money. I'm like, dude, just pay me starter money and I'm your guy. They wouldn't pay me that. They had all these incentives because they wanted me to be behind Warren, but they really drafted me to pay me. And the whole part of the story, and I won't belabor it anymore, is after really the Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning thing, you saw the NFL change. And what they did is they said, hey, owners, GMs, trade the pick, don't trade the player, because it's not good PR. It's not good PR for the team. It's not good PR for the 20-year-old guy that just got drafted, who now is being, shuck around and thrown to another city as trade bait or whatever it might be. So what they did now, you saw like Jared Goff, let's say with the Rams, they traded all these picks, right? And the picks left, but then Jared Goff was drafted as a Ram, so he's always been a Ram. It's just tough for the John Elways who were drafted by the Colts, or Eli Manning drafted by San Diego, then switched. Then when you go back and look at the history, who's your number one pick? And like Eli's the San Diego Charger number one pick. That doesn't, but he was flipped. So, or myself with Houston Oilers. So they changed that, and I think that's good for the game. And thanks for letting me go on about this, Sarina.
I love this. We've never really talked about this because when you and I worked together, we were covering the day-to-day football, and I want to get into draft picks a little bit. And then I was like, holy cow, Jim was one of those handful of guys that had to finagle. But my God, the stress and like pre-Twitter, pre-social media, you're managing this on your own, and you've got a keg of beer with your friend. Like, you're not expecting this at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is theoretically in an athlete's life one of the best days of their life. And I know a draft should never define you. I know there's guys out there that get draft lower and then come back up and look at Tom Brady. Drafted all these guys, passed him up, and now he's the Super Bowl champ of all time. So there's all these different motivations, but to go through something like that when it's what you think is your time, you're one of the top in the league, and then have to deal with a PR nightmare. It was an absolute PR nightmare because it wasn't the fact that I was holding out for more money or I didn't like Houston or I didn't like any of those things. Like, I didn't tell them to draft me; they drafted me. It's like, well, if you're going to draft me, pay me, and then we'll go about it as a business decision because that's what they do. And now we have rookie salary caps. Now we have some other things that just falls in line a little bit easier. But I do like the fact that the NFL came to things, and we don't need this bad PR for the John Elways, for the Eli Mannings, for any of these. We don't need to start their career like that, nor do we need to say, hey, this guy doesn't want to play for this particular team. Like, you might hear that about some of the Jets these days. Like, I'm not coming out because I want to start for the Jets, but I don't know. You don't hear that too often.
Would a young Jim Everett survive today's NFL?
I think what we're seeing is a little bit different, instantaneous stuff. Would a young Jim Everett survive? Yeah, because I had tenacity and I still do. But
you would have had better block. You would have better. They give you more time
there. I'd run a lot faster.
Okay.
Sarina, it's a good question, but I think you're seeing our society as well as, our information's instantaneous. People are going to see this, they're going to tweet, they're going to do, stuff is just moving rapid speed. I see 12-year-olds have position coaches now that we never had. We just go from sport to sport and do this. We didn't learn the intricacies till we're 18, 19, 20. And now they're learning that stuff. Oh, the cover two, they know that stuff when they're 14, 15. They're playing video games about it. So there's a lot more exposure, a lot more expectation, and a hell of a lot more money going at it. So it's big business.
It is. So I don't know, does the greatest show on turf or like some of these like teams from the 80s, can they beat a modern day football team? It's just a completely different level at this point.
It's a completely different. The rules were different, Sarina. So I think if an 80s team tried to play now, they would lose because they would have 4 million penalties thrown against them.
That's very true. That's right, yeah. Don't you dare touch the quarterback. Don't you dare do that.
Oh my God. They would have our 1980s defense would all be ejected. All of them.
Yeah.
They were knocking us out of the game. That was the game back then.
But you would have survived because, the rules would have protected you forever. You wouldn't have been touched.
I can tell you this. I remember Brad Johnson. I remember that name. He's a quarterback. I think he was he played for Buffalo for a while, but he was a smallish guy. And he was a friend of mine down in Mission Viejo, back in California. And we would talk, and his dad was a coach at Mission Viejo High School for years. He would talk, and he'd be like, God, I wish I had you and Vinny Testaverde's size. And I go, yeah. He goes, because you guys were just, you could hold up in the pocket because we were getting killed. Well, Brad was a very good quarterback, and I'm going to say he's Pat Mahomes-like. He did all these fun things, this and that, but he got absolutely blasted. And he couldn't play because he was hurt all the time. So I would say this: if Patrick Mahomes had to go back to our era, he might not survive like he's doing now. I'm not saying he wouldn't be good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if he'd be able to survive all the games. So it was just different.
It's just a different time. This has been fascinating to me because the last time I saw you was at the Dallas Card Show, and I took you through the aisles. You met some of the vendors, and from that experience, we posted a video of you, and Jim, it went viral because a handful of those vendors recognized you. In fact, one guy in particular named his fantasy football league as an homage to you. You got any Jim Everett cards?
We're looking.
Looks just like him.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Our fantasy football league is a homage to one of your interviews earlier on in life.
Oh,
no,
man.
really?
Exactly which one.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's flip the table, man.
There is no better example ever in the history of media of standing on effing business.
Right there.
And that right there.
Right there.
It really is a pleasure to
Nice
meet you.
to meet you. Not like standing on a little business. I like that line. I hope you don't mind if I use that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will. What's the name of your league? Can you say it?
If you call me Chris, ... That is literally the name of my fantasy league.
I'm standing on some business today, too.
There is no better example in the history of media than standing on effing business.
I love that.
Jim, I know you. You are, my son loves you. You are family to me. But the psychology of your life is fascinating. Again, something we've never talked about.
No.
It's really hit me experiencing that firsthand. Like, what does it feel like to be recognized, not for your football career, but for this moment you had in life, like on TV?
It's been different. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you prepare your life for, I don't know, football, sports, physical contact, kind of rough and tough stuff. And I don't think you prepare yourself really for the media part. I think that kind of grows with your success. I remember back in the day when I was playing in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I'm like, a reporter wants to talk to me. I'm like, really, for what?
What do they
And so,
want?
yeah. And so like, oh man, I better represent my team and represent. So you kind of build into this thing, and never in my life would I had guessed that I would have some sort of adversary confrontation with something that wasn't on a football field. I get the competition on the field. I didn't kind of get the taunting and stuff off the field. We get it from the fans. I always said this too. Like when we would go play New York, Sarina, and I know you hang out there, but man, those people in New York knew more about my mother than I knew. And they were wanting to tell me about it too. I was like, hey, my mom did what? It was all make believe, but that was just hype. So you get into this. Raider fans were like that too. But you get into this whole thing, and then someone's taunting you, and the camera's rolling. I was like, "Whoa, this was a whole different gamut." And it was, frankly, I gotta say, it's beyond my pay grade. Some people say, "Hey, Jim, that was fake," or "That was this." I'm like, "No, I can't fake that stuff." I'm a pretty real guy. I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty patient. I'm pretty, all these things. I'm kind of like pretty laid back. So the stuff that just went down right there was a little bit out of character. He just might, hit my button to the point where like, dude, that's just too far. And
that was a human moment for you. And I guess what's wild to me is that, like you've had this incredible football career. It didn't hit me until actually I was walking the aisles and talking with Carson, because he's like, that's got to be so fascinating to have somebody like Jim live in this world where he's recognized for something completely different. And I was like, I never thought about that, because I know you from your football career, not from that moment, but
and a majority of the people do. I mean, we're really, besides friends and families, whatever it might be, but to see that. And there was one time I was actually still in California, and it was a few years after the fact, and there was this group of from a university that stopped by my house, and they were like, "Hey, do you mind if we throw the football around?" And actually, with my real estate agent, I'm like, "Yeah, come over." None of them really knew me at all from NFL. They were too young from to actually even watch film. Let's say watch YouTube or whatever. But I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "You were a star in our communications class." And I go, "What?" So yeah, we were like the do's and don'ts in marketing and journalism and this and that. And there you were. And we wanted to come say hi. And so it was from a university class of marketing and journalism that this class knew me. And there was a whole bunch of them that stopped by my place in San Clemente when I was living out there. So interesting times.
Jim, are people scared of you? Like, do you go to the supermarket and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah, when I come up to check out, they part the sea right there. I'm telling you. They don't want to see me throw my cart. I'm telling you, it's not a good sight.
Stop! No, they don't. They don't. He's like, no. They don't even like whatever. That's freaking hilarious. Because because there were people that were very excited. I will say this, that you put Jim Rome in his place, because there's a lot of Jim Rome haters. Do you have any relationship with Jim Rome currently? Let's put that to rest.
No, I do not.
Nada.
There was a couple times when there was some commercial entities that wanted to either use that tape or use Jim or and he keeps poo-pooing on it. I'm like, come on, man, let's just have fun with it. Let's move out. I've got some great ideas, but we're not moving forward with them. I'm just like, come on, man, this is like, you got to let this go and have some fun with life, because this is like real moments and people make mistakes. I get it.
Yes.
We get to. So I really thought he had me in this Barbara Walters moment, where I could just he just had me, and then he just went one step too further. I'm like,
But how wild is it? You could do that on a football field, but you can't lose your in an interview, which is totally normal too.
Even worse now. I swear it would be. I mean, that's probably why it's kind of remarkable in a sense, because it definitely, today's world would, every legal counsel on the planet would be taking that. It's just too litigious right now.
I am the best. I do want to pitch to Fanatics, or the Fanatics currently is licensing for the NFL, but like, what do you think of like a dual auto Jim versus Jim? I feel like it'd be good.
Actually, Leaf Cards came out with one, but they didn't tell me about it. So I think they cut it. But they were getting a Jim Rome signature and getting mine, and then trying to do a combo thing. And
what?
Like, yeah, no, it was. They did a sneaky Pete trying to get a couple of it. Yeah, it's out there. It's out there, but it was not approved by anybody.
What? There is.
I know. It was not approved. They snuck it in. It was one of these little, hey, you sign this thing, and then they stuck it in there. So that was, I know
it was a sticker auto
stuff. And I know Jim shut it down. And so,
that is so funny. Okay. Wow. Okay. So
I think we should do like a talk show, Jim and Jim or something. Come on.
Yes. I know that you are fine. Like, again, you're one of the most incredible people I know. You're like literally one of the best people I know, Jim. I think of you as my family. So I know you're like chilling about it, but it is fascinating. And I'm like, how is it so wild that like someone was like, oh, he's the guy in that video. I'm like, what? That's how you know Jim Everett? That's crazy to me.
Oh, we go back. We go back to bouncing little axe around. Come on, we go way back.
That's
so
right.
no, I remember when you were first starting with the Rams and doing the stuff after the St. Louis and coming here. So it was good. I mean, I've seen you grow up through your whole career, and I've always respected your work. And I know we had a chance to work together a couple times, and that's always been a fabulous thing. But the thing that I always liked about you is you always thought outside the box. And you still do. And so, it's easy for you to do these things. And so it's like, I totally respect it. And that's when you said, hey, would you come on? I'm like, absolutely, Sarina, because I know whatever you're kind of touching is usually working out pretty dang good.
So the draft, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, even like a Carson Beck. Jim, what would be your advice to these young quarterbacks entering the league this year as someone who has experienced this for themselves?
Any one of them, and this would go from even the guys wherever they're drafted, either first in the draft or not drafted and come as a free agent. Just prepare yourself for anything and everything. And if you don't get an opportunity right away, don't get discouraged. And if you do get an opportunity and things don't go your way right away, don't get discouraged, because that's part of the game. And so that's kind of your each one of the men that are going to take this position. If you're the starting guy, the backup guy, the guy that's just looking for a spot on the roster or whatever, just do the best you can. Take every rep, take every mental rep. Don't get discouraged. Go through the plan. Don't let someone out hustle you. Don't let someone out work you. Don't let someone out think you on this stuff. No, I'm not saying go over and not be yourself. I'm doing that, but put yourself in a position, like mentally, to learn what your offensive coordinator's giving you. And each one of the guys is going to be very different. Each one of the guys, and that's what people don't realize, is that every offensive system is like a language. So
Yeah.
they may be coming from a system that might be Spanish and have to learn Russian. And so everyone has to go through this. And there might be some similarities, but it is by far, I don't know if you watched any of the stuff with John Gruden going through with Ty Simpson and all the young guys, but each one of the guys speaks a different, like, what do you call that? How do you do it?
Yeah.
And everyone's different. So just spend a lot of time. I remember I first going through when I was with the Rams, I had a microphone or a tape recorder with me. And at the time they were handheld, and I would just say the play and I'd play it back. And I would ask myself, was I convincing? Because when I get in that huddle, I wanted my voice to match the same conviction of what I wanted the play to be. And if I wanted to go in, pro right, fan right, 89 high, whatever, I wanted it to be, just come out. And I wanted that to be, and because there's so much when you're in the huddle, especially for a quarterback, you have to take command. And if you're in there throwing question marks with your voice, you possibly will throw question marks with the ball, and that's not good.
I am very curious. Last question. I appreciate all your insight, but this just dawned on me because we had looked at this in the past. The past 10 Super Bowls, I think 8 of the last 10 were led by head coaches that were offensive coordinators or offensive-minded head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of the Jets because he comes from as a defensive coordinator from the Lions, and he was spectacular. And I do think that head coaches just have certain skill sets. But should we just, because they have to bring in a quarterback who is young, or is there a certain, I don't know, means of I'm not saying that no head coach should be a defensive coordinator, but do you think there's better suited head coaches for young quarterbacks who are entering the league to have success?
Well, Mike McDonald last year would probably disagree with any of that statement about that. So I think you're looking at number one, a guy needs to be a team leader to be a head coach. I have a tendency to agree with you that I think we just talked about the offense can be like a language, Russian, German, whatever. So you switch an offense out, then you're bringing in a new system and everybody's starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
Sean McVay is a little different. His play calling and stuff is the same. So, he goes from Matthew Stafford every year. Matthew already knows what the name is, and they're building to the next level, to the next one, to the next one. It's kind of like, Brady having his offense year over year, Peyton Manning with Tom Moore year over year, and those types of things. So that's important. When you have to learn a brand new system, you have a learning curve. I don't care who you are. And so going back to your question, if I'm Sean McVay and I'm there for 8 years or 10 years or whatever it may be, I'm running the same offense. It's my new defensive coordinator that keeps getting taken, that has to learn a new system. So Sean works closely with whoever that defensive coordinator is, so they run the star system and the whole thing. And so it's not that much different. You're not trying to go from like what we did with the Rams, where we went from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 defense. You're not trying to bring in that drastic of a change. They're just changing the guy calling it, but calling it the same. Now, when you have a defensive coordinator and they change offensive coordinators, that offensive coordinator knows Russian. I don't know a lot of offensive coordinators that know 2, 3, 4 systems and all the full names of them. I don't know them. And if there are out there, that'd be special. But it would be very, very difficult for a whole team to then pick it up. But Sam Darnold did it up in Seattle with his, and so they made it happen. So I think when you've got the right leadership and the right commitment, the right players, the right temperament, and a lot of luck, it happens.
Yeah, and Ricky Morris, good example. I'm just more trying to think of where does the court, if you have this young quarterback, you're like, man, I want you to get matched with the offensive head coach so we can like build this whole system around you. That's what Sean did with Jared. He knew Jared's weaknesses and he built that whole thing. Hey, we need an Andrew Whitworth in here ASAP. We need to protect Jared. He is not releasing that ball fast enough. So that's where I don't know if you're getting.
I know. I'll take it personally on that thing. I didn't really get to an NFL type offense and start leading the league in touchdowns until Ernie Zampese, who brought the Dan Fouts offense in. And so it took us a good 8 games for us to really start gelling and getting that going. Like I knew up in Chicago will be a much better football team this year than they were last year, just from them be able to go through this whole system another year. So just look at the teams. And if you're looking at your fantasy teams, look at the teams that have had the same system and doing, and also on the flip side, look at the teams that are moving to a new system and why they're doing that and maybe players to avoid.
Oh, Jim, you're the best. You're a legend. I appreciate you, Jim. You're the freaking best. Thank you so much for your time.
I love you. You know it, Sarina. Thank you so much for having me, and just keep rocking. You're the best.